Welcome everyone to this week's Star Citizen Weekly News Review. I'm DarkHour717 and this is where we'll go over the latest news from the last week in the Star Citizen universe. Remember, if you like these updates and find them helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out and gets the videos out to more people. I also greatly appreciate it. But make sure you stick around till the end of the video to see how you can get entered in for a chance to win an Anvil Centurion with LTI and the Beachhead paint. So this week, there's a fair amount to go over as we wrap up with the dynamic events of Jumptown and Siege of Orison on the PU. Hopefully everyone was able to get in and complete a few runs of Siege to make some profits. As we discussed in the previous weeks, the Siege event itself was a lot of fun, and though we continued to see a number of minor issues, we really walked away with about a 50% completion rate due to the various bugs that occurred. The rest of the PU seems to be continuing to run smoothly with things such as mining. Planetside, we're finding plenty of mineable rocks and deposits, though in the asteroid field and belt, there seems to be still a big issue of unscannable rocks that are located and they can't be mined. This seems to be prevalent in both the Halo as well as the smaller asteroid fields around Stanton. Thankfully for us, Lyria is still a major hotspot to get Quantanium. The new service beacons in this patch have shown to be really good and a great AUEC earner, though at times on some servers, getting them to begin can be difficult, as there are times that they don't even show up at all. As a group, we have been able to get in and do a variety of these all the way up through the critical tier, and they are a blast and another fun way to get to take down an Idris. 3.17.2 patch so far has been chock full of new features, and as far as the stability, it continues to prove itself with each session. Though the patch is operating well, it is still having some issues, and the continuing PTU patches for 3.17.2 over the last week strive to make the needed improvements to make it that much better. Over the last week, we've seen more PTU patches with different testing focuses be released. As discussed previously, the ongoing support for 3.17.2 is greatly appreciated and a great thing to see. What has been looked at and some of the key items over the last week with these PTU patches has been varying. With many bug fixes as well as improvements, what we are seeing as known issues is that the foundation paint is bugged for the Aegis Gladius, and this is cutting off all visibility from the cockpit. There's been some targeting issues causing some players to be untargetable. Ships floating off the deck when being spawned in if the engines are left on when stored. This is easily fixable though by storing it, remove the power plant, respawn it in, store it again, and replace the power plant, and then go ahead and spawn it back in and it'll be on the deck. Weapon fire is penetrating shields when ships are moving. The Argo Raft's elevator is still suffering issues and cannot be interacted with from either floor of the ship. And the medical beacon payout is failing at times. Armor, weapons, and utility items are disappearing from inventory between play sessions, and underground facility turrets are respawning after destruction at an almost instantaneous rate. For bug fixes that we've seen on these patches, the elevators were fixed with the issue of them blocking entry, and a new 60-second timer has been set so that if it detects that it has been stuck, the elevator will reset itself. Missing AI from underground facility missions has been fixed, and these should now be able to be completed, and ships should no longer store at Klesher once the sentence is completed. Party launch functionality has been fixed as well, and we'll be checking this one out when we launch in on stream, and they also fixed the derelict reclaimer cargo hold that allowed players to clip through the hull. More specific information was given in regard to the dynamic events. This includes improvements for testing on the PTU with the Siege event. This weekend, we are seeing both the Siege of Orison and Ninetales blockade being tested. Saturday was the Siege event, and Sunday we're seeing the Ninetales being tested, both starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and running for 6 hours. Some of the changes listed, though, for the events are that you should now see optional objects for the anti-air that should complete if you destroy the turret or disable the IFFI. They also fixed an issue where rewards were not being given for each action, and increased the reward for killing each boss. They added an award for each anti-air control regained, and there will no longer be a double trespassing crime when the mission completes and you do not leave the platforms. This is now a failure to comply offense. There are also now 4 stages instead of 3 after the end of the mission, with an extra 15 minutes to depart the platforms. If a player leaves the platform area during the mission, then the mission will end for them. And if you remain in the mission area after completion and departure countdown, you will be arrested, but mission will complete and payment made prior to incarceration. The data transfer secondary objective is now properly resetting between runs. And if all types of one ship is destroyed, it will reflect that as a failed portion of the event. They also added AI security and additional cover around Solanke platform to reduce griefing possibilities, and they fixed an issue of bosses spawning in with the incorrect data pad. So a lot of added things for the Siege of Orison event, and some that are much needed, including the added AI security and additional coverage at Solanke. This will help reduce the griefing possibilities. Just keep in mind that the event is a PvE, but people have the ability to turn it into a PvP, and choke points throughout the entire event are always going to be present. But negating that choke point right at the initial shuttle landing platform is probably key to giving everybody a chance to get off the shuttle and be able to get started with the event. So the ongoing support for patch 3.17.2 is great. Though Siege of Orison has concluded, it seems that PTU testing will be ongoing in order to make improvements before the next run. So anyone still interested in experiencing these events can head over to the PTU, which is open for all backers. Overall though, patch 3.17.2 has been a lot of fun with the events when they're running, as well as the new features. And with a noticeably higher level of stability, it's brought a lot of enjoyment. I look forward to all of these new fixes making it into the live servers. Moving on to our regular sources of news, we of course saw the standard this week in Star Citizen on Monday. With this, we saw the reminder that the Ship Showdown contest begins on the 15th of August. And as many are taking to Spectrum, it is again divided from those that want winners like the C2 or Carrick, to those that want to see a repeat of last year's atmosphere after the Argo Cargo won and are promoting the entry and overall win for the Grey Cat PTV. And now with the announcement of the buggy cart racing, this is actually gaining some ground. Will we see a repeat of last year's event and see a new exciting skin for the Grey Cat PTV? No one can really tell, as last year's event really did not bother me that the little Argo won, because I actually own one and I love the little ship. It's very useful. A number of people were very upset with the results as they view it as more serious competition and really feel that ships like the Argo and Grey Cat should be excluded. So we will have to wait and see what happens, but I'll be getting a good chuckle if we see a Reclaimer versus PTV competition at the end. As for the Ship Showdown itself, for those unfamiliar with it, this is a month-long multi-phase competition where the players decide the best ship or vehicle in the Star Citizen verse. These of course have to be flyable at this time in Star Citizen, and concepts cannot be entered. Phase 1 kicks off on the 15th of August, and this phase will bring us the 16 competitors through the community's entries. These entries can be videos, music, screenshots, whatever you can imagine. The 16 ships with the most activity make the competition. A link to the Ship Showdown page is going to be in the description, and it'll go over what the results were for last year. Tuesday, we did get the latest in lore updates with the Bremen Beltway. This was originally posted in the Jump Point Edition 9.8. The entry itself starts off with a stark telling of August Dunlow fleeing from the UEE. This is one of the many entries in the Bremen Beltway. It's a book that documents the smuggling of many different people in and out of the Messer-controlled UEE. The Bremen Beltway is actually a nickname for one of the most successful ways in which to get people in and out. The route itself is responsible for the highest percentage of success, and was successful in bringing in hundreds of anti-Messer activists that were key to overthrowing the Messer-controlled regime. The route named for the starting point in Bremen flowed through the Nix system in Levski. The final goal though was to reach Xi'an space. The story goes through and discusses how the Xi'an were key to its success and eventual uprising against the Messer regime by reversing the flow of the Bremen Beltway. I definitely recommend checking this story out. It is a good read and definitely very interesting. Wednesday, we did see the Squadron 42 monthly report hit the RSI website as we discussed last week. And this is a lengthy, detailed report into everything with each team that was worked on for Squadron 42. I'll have a link in the description for the report. Of course, there was no roadmap roundup this week, but we did see a post on Bar Citizen and the current tour it is on with upcoming visits to many locations. So check that out if they're coming to your area. Tacoma, Washington is the stopping point for this past Saturday, and Cologne, Germany on the 25th of August, followed by Orlando, Florida on the 17th of September. Thursday, we did get a double sprint report with the Corsair, and it is looking absolutely amazing. You can follow along as Jared goes over the advancement and current status of this long-awaited ship from Drake. After that, they showcase the Argo SRV, and this is Argo's mighty little towing ship. This actually got an increase in size for the cockpit, And then we actually saw some additional pictures of the BMM to show that not all angles look like a crazy duck beak. And finally, we see some UI interactions with what may be a sneak peek at a new type of MPUV. Not sure what the attachment on the front is, guesses ranged everywhere from a tractor beam to assist with cargo to a mining laser. But we will need to wait and see if this is a future concept or modular component for the little ship. But in my opinion, the length of this MPUV looks a little longer than just the Argo cargo, and the hull color suggests that may be a new variant. After that, on Friday, we got the latest in Star Citizen Live, and this edition is a game dev all on the Star Kart Racing. This has Martin from the EU Sandbox Team 2, who is an environmental artist. This episode is a game dev edition, meaning that they go through and they create something new, and this week they are building a smaller racetrack for the buggy racing system. For use in a smaller hull, they use already prepared assets to create the track. The entirety of the show, they highlight the creation process of the tracks, and the one they design is multi-tiered and filled with turns and jumps. Once the lighting is actually added, it really looks fun. And one question that did come up was about using other vehicles on them other than PTVs, but Jared does stress that the design is geared towards the Grey Cat. In a way to prove this, they actually run a mule through the track that they created, and you can see the difference in the type of vehicle and the poor performance of the mule. Though the mule did almost make it through the loop. Check out the episode though, I found it really fun and interesting, especially with how much I'm looking forward to the buggy track racing, and that's supposed to be making it in with patch 3.18. This new edition is going to be a lot of fun for all players, and the link for this video is going to be in the description. And that's about all the news for this week. Thank you to everyone for joining me, and I hope you found it useful. Don't forget you can get entered in for the Anvil Centurion giveaway just by subscribing here and commenting on any video by the end of August. You can also get a second entry by heading over to Twitch and following there as well, and catch the stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The winner will be drawn on September 1st. If you'd like to help support the channel, check out the merch store or hit that join button above for a membership as little as 99 cents per month. It all goes back to the giveaways that we do back to the community. And thank you again, and please everybody be safe out there, and we will catch you in the verse.